You know, some of the comments that I get all the time are, shame on you for talking about your wife in such a dramatic and detailed way. You know, what a narcissistic, self-centered person to, go over these details about your wife. And, now that she's dead, let her rest in peace. Stop complaining about what you went through, and just go away. What you're doing is horrible and shameful. Essentially, I mean, I get these kind of comments, and also the filtration system in my, on my page catches a lot of these, and I'm getting to the point. They're laughable at best, because I will never understand that mentality. How we grow as a society is we learn from our past. I mean, I'm a big fan of history. This is how we evolve as a species, is studying, dissecting, and understanding the lives and the history of our past, so that we do not go down the same path and that we learn from these mistakes. So understanding history, understanding the behavior of our past and people in our past, is highly more likely that we will not repeat that, and we will learn from these really horrible mistakes, so that people can move on, learn from them, grow, and ultimately evolve from these stories. And really, if you follow me at all, the underlining theme of my entire page is prevention. It is to get it before it really happens. And that's really important to do in the high school years, college years, and the earlier years of someone's life. The average alcoholic starts their career between the ages of 13 and 20, when you're still developing as a human being. And if you can catch those people and educate kids, before they get into the later stages, before they become chemically and physically and emotionally addicted, because it's a much more difficult road down that path. And having a different attitude of, look, use these stories as a deterrent, if nothing else. If you continue down that path, you know what? You're not infallible. You are not Iron Man. You're not Superman. This will happen to you. Our bodies are made up of organic material. If you put poison in your life for the next 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to go down the same path. You're going to suffer from alcohol use disorder. And again, I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. If you've studied me, or if you followed me at all, the stories that my family went through, and certainly what Amanda went through, my wife, and ultimately succumbed to the disease, isn't something that anybody should have to go through, especially when you have these stories and it's completely preventable, and you can identify it going on with a loved one or in your own life. And I know it's a lot of people, very difficult for a lot of people to accept, but certainly for families, my goal is to help families as well, and identify someone who may be in the later stages, and it's important as a family member to take care of your own mental health, because there is a cutoff point where there really isn't anything you're going to be able to do for that person, especially if they're in complete denial, they're gaslighting, they have no culpability, and it's only getting worse, and they're causing more problems to themselves and to other people in harm's way. Or maybe they're just mentally, they're kind of gone. They have Wernicke-Korsakoff, they have wet brain, they have like an alcoholic form of dementia, or a plethora of other health and mentally challenging things that have happened. There's only so much you can do. And as family members, it's important to protect yourself. It's important for spouses to protect themselves. And on that same note, children, because you don't want this to turn into a generational problem. If you can nip it in the bud, children do what we do, they don't do what we say. And if you grow up and understand that you don't want your children growing up in an alcoholic culture, well, that's the biggest prevention of all. And if you take anything away from this particular video, it's important to not expose our children to alcoholism or drugs in any way. And as a parent, well, you're responsible if you do. And understanding that, well, that's the biggest takeaway you can for prevention. And again, we have the Facebook group called There's an Alcoholic in the Family, which is becoming a very good support group. We have two groups. This one's a little bit smaller because I needed to break off the first one. Very intimate group, very safe place to talk about things. I also have the coaching program called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. It's very important to set up a link in the link tree, go to the calendar link, set up a Zoom call. I want to do a deep dive into what's going on with you and your family, and then we'll walk through the program. Call's free. the program is definitely not, but I want people who are committed, and it will change your life. And again, please like, share, and comment. And I go live every day, Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And again, thanks so much for listening.